Hi guys, Paul here, and I've been getting lots of questions about what sort of antennas should you use on your SkyZone goggles, whether it be the 3D or the 2D version. So I'm going to run through and explain the scenario and how I go about what sort of antennas I use. Now firstly, talking about the 3D setup, if you're running the 3D transmitter and you're going to run these in 3D mode, you want to be running two identical antennas on your goggles, and you want to be running two identical antennas on your transmitter. Now in this instance I'm running two clover leaves on this, and I always run clovers on my transmitters, and they seem to work quite well. And on the goggles you've got a couple of options. Generally speaking, 9 times out of 10 you'll be using this type of configuration where I'm running two skew planar antennas that are identical, and that works really well. These are just antennas that I've made, and you can easily make your own antennas like these or purchase. And if you are going to be purchasing, just buy a decent brand, because it's worthwhile having really good antennas, because it does make a phenomenal difference as far as the FPV experience goes. So that's the way I have these configured. Now the other variation on this is if you were doing flying, say in 3D mode, and you were flying a fair distance out, say for argument's sakes you're located over here and you're flying basically in this area here, all you need to do is make sure your goggles are pointing in the right direction. And if you were flying at a reasonable distance, you may then swap this out and go with, say, two of these type of antennas. And these are just a helical antenna that I use, and they would work really well. So when running in 3D, I would definitely be running with two identical antennas here and two identical antennas here. The way I normally fly, I'm usually flying not with this transmitter, I'm flying with my other transmitters that I have lying around here, and I'm flying in 2D on my multi-rotors. So on my multi-rotors I've basically got one of these antennas, and it's just encased in a half ping pong ball just to protect it. So I'm running a cloverleaf antenna on my transmitter. Now on the goggles I run a slightly different variation to what most people do. I will actually take one of these guys off, and instead I'll be running with one of these guys. Now essentially what this allows me to do is, if I'm flying the multi-rotor around myself, I'm going to have good range around this whole antenna, and this antenna is going to be working 9 times out of 10. But there could be, like, even with close proximity multi-rotor flying, there might be a whole heap of trees or whatever out in that direction. So what I'll do is actually face my head in that direction, which means I get maximum penetration with the helical, and I've still got the omnidirectional antenna here that'll work behind me and basically to the sides, etc., and it'll still give me good range. But if I need to punch out in a specific direction, I'll be using the diversity will actually switch to this type of configuration, switching to the helical, in this case being a 5-turn helical. And 9 times out of 10 this is the way I actually fly with this configuration. Having said that, I've had a lot of people actually purchase these antennas, and they're actually running 2 of these on them, and they're getting phenomenal range out of it, which I haven't actually personally tried running 2 helicals, but there's lots of videos out there where people are actually flying with their SkyZone and running 2 of these helicals, and they're achieving pretty good results. And some people even point these out slightly, which gives them a bigger angle of sweep and really good penetrations. They might position themselves, say, in a corner of a park, and then be flying in that direction sort of thing, and getting really good range and good penetration. So that's basically the way I fly. This is the way I utilize them. But like I said, you can run the same antennas. You can run with one antenna. If I'm only flying close by and I'm not flying too far out, I'll only whack on one of these antennas. And these are actually, I'll get this guy off there. And I've actually intentionally made these long, and the reason for that is just to get that antenna a little bit above your head. Because generally speaking 5.8 doesn't have that good a penetration, so this just gives me good range, especially when I'm flying behind myself. So that's essentially the way I fly with the SkyZones and the sort of antenna configuration that I use. Look, I hope you found this video useful. Anyway, thanks for taking time to watch this video, and I will catch you guys later.